So I have just been torn between casting pro games, which I love, and casting custom races, which I just can't get enough of. But what if there was a way to do both? That's rhetorical, because there is. We've got pros playing in the Keiron Cup, and I could not be more stoked because it includes a huge fan favorite around these parts, and I cannot wait to see how this shakes out. Our first game is going to be on the map Hardwire. It's part of the new map orientation, but it's still a very traditional macro-oriented map. Alex, opening up with that edifice. Such a cool name. If you look it up in the dictionary, it tells you that it means big building. Oh, Bly just went pool first. Alex's hatch-blocking converter is about to be disappointed. For those of you unfamiliar with Alex, he is a Russian-speaking caster from the Ukraine. His analysis of the game is unparalleled, and not surprisingly, he is a mathematician. Alex is the driving force behind many of the Russian and Eastern European tournaments. Bly's getting his 300, he's gonna put down that delayed natural, and Alex's converter is about to get confirmation on that early pool. The risk of getting rushed has just become real. Edifice is gonna finish up, that's gonna unlock the Volts and the Pariahs. The early pool is gonna pop. We'd better sneak in our intros here. In the top right is our Keiron player. The UA stands for unnecessary acronym because everyone knows him as Alex! Alex is no stranger to battling Bly, but the last time they squared off in public, it was a ZVZ. Of course, the legend playing in the bottom left in red is a Zerg player. You don't even have to wonder, Bly! A top 50 player in the world, Bly has an insane 65% win rate against Protoss, but this is like no other Protoss he's seen before. What I actually don't know is just how much practice Bly has had against the Keiron so far, and that could be a big swing factor for his performance. Clearly he's confident enough to send out 6 lings to see what can be done. Alex has almost no defenders to his name, but he's walled himself off with a reliquary. His bolts are going to be able to shoot over top of that. Bly pulls back, saving all of his lings. Alex no longer has a way out of his base without destroying one of his own buildings. Just like the Protoss, the Keiron have not invented the concept of the door. Bly starts up ling speed, Alex gets that second formulator for gas. And a lone converter scout is going to find out that Bly has queens on the map. This sacrificial scout wants to see what Bly is building. New queen pops out, and that's a first blood. The game is officially on. Alex only got information by omission there. It looks like in response, he's gonna make a subjector. It's primarily an anti-air unit, but it can also shoot over his wall, so he might be making it just for that. Or perhaps he's looking to keep pesky overlords out of his main. Now that the scout is gone, Bly's gonna go ahead and start up a roach warren somewhere. That is natural. I find it very helpful to use very specific terms like somewhere. A roach warren is a deadly weapon in the hands of Bly. But there's good news for Alex here. He's blind making an outlet, 2 of them. The outlets make a flying unit called the Aurora. It attacks ground only, which is going to make it a decent counter to roaches. Clearly Alex is showing no sign of going easy on Bly here. The Aurora is a unit that has really been giving Keiron opponents fits. It's fast, mobile, and it has a special ability that helps the Keiron get vision all over the map. Bly is continuing the aggression. He's making roaches. 7 of them. I think he means to bust that wall. Alex is going to want to start shaping in those Auroras sooner than later, but he needs the charges to complete. Remember, the building alone isn't enough. There's also a status bar that builds the charge before you can use it at the Citadel. The first of Bly's roaches are already on the move. I can't help but notice that Bly hasn't gone for a 3rd base here. Lings are having a little huddle about the attack plan here. There's a huge army disparity right now. I know the roaches inflate the numbers, but Bly just has so much more. I'd feel a little better if the Auroras would start shaping in. Here comes the first one. It's gonna get vision of the Overlord so the subjectors can take it out. I guess the Volts did help. Bly is briefly supply blocked, but I don't think he cares. He's got his Ravagers done. The Aurora's gonna see that. This is a 5-alarm fire. Bly targets the Reliquary. Think of that as a Ford. Alex can afford to lose it, but he doesn't want the Zerg inside his base. And that is exactly what's gonna happen. Alex is taken by surprise. He's caught building Oculus. Detection is not what he needs right now. He needs units. The roaches are looking to stomp on the few that he has. The Aurora has taken out the Ravagers. And now he's shaping in a pulsar. It's a robotic roach. Armor against armor. And he's gonna make another Aurora. Bly's ordered 14 lings. I think he means to stream them through that open door. 5 dead worker kills so far. Alex has a huge worker lead right now. He could afford to lose a few, but now that it's 9, it's starting to add up. The Keiron is struggling with the cleanup. Reinforcements are on their way. Bly chases the converters up to the main. 3 Auroras now. They can really focus those roaches down. But a fresh set of lings in his natural is not what he needs. 15 dead workers and continued lost mining time. Bly will see that Alex has gone up to triple outlets. If Bly doesn't shut down his Keiron opponent here, the air counterattack could be quite deadly. Oh, yep, Bly is going to try to transition. He's put down a 3rd and he's droning up. So it looks like the net result is going to be that our players are pretty even on workers. Slight edge for Zerg. Yes, Alex has lost 21, but he's killed a lot of enemy units. I thought that was going to go worse for him. And if he wants to try to counter, he's got the bigger army. Yes, he's sending out 4 Auroras. Bly is getting his lair, which means he's not making as many queens as he could be. He's only got 4, and he's just making spores now. Bly is in considerable trouble. It only takes 2 Auroras to one-shot a drone. Oh, Bly's reacting by putting down a Hydralisk den. That or Mutas, and I think he's a long ways away from getting a Spire. The Aurora attack strafe begins. Oh, the queens are in perfect position. It's 4 on 4, and then it's 3 on 3. Alex blinks and pulls back. That is huge for Bly. I thought he was in so much trouble there. He bought time for his spores to complete. He's gonna get up the Hydra Den. Alex is gonna settle for putting up Emanators to get vision. Oh, do they detect? They do. Using them to kill off the creep tumors. I didn't know you could do that. That was awesome. Bly responds by putting out fresh ones. He started making Hydras and he's getting to work on Hydra speed. Muscular augments. That sounds like something that I need. Do the Hydras like hit the gym? Alex has split his forces to try to give the queens fits. But that does mean he can't go toe-to-toe with them. In the meantime, the Keiron has its worker lead back. He's researching Amplified Sphere at the Sanctum. That's a range upgrade for the Subjector. An extra +2 for air, +1 for ground. Bly's got his lair tech now, and he's using it to get roach speed. Everybody wants speed. Alex is researching it as well with the ability Modified Gate. That's going to increase speed for the Volts and Pariahs. Keiron taking that 3rd base. Our players are even on workers, but Bly has the advantage because he's got that extra base. Bly's sort of got a patchwork creep highway going on here. He's using his overlords to poop creep, but Alex is going to have something to say about that. That's going to supply block him again as well. Alex knew that observer was all alone because of those spinning sun rays. That's the forward vision that he's cast out of one of the Oculuses in front of his natural. And then he's adding Emanators. Alex sees all, or at least everything that's going to happen in front of his base. The Hydras are massing up. That's going to really help him out with the Auroras. But Alex has stopped building them. He's diversifying his composition now. Pulsars, Subjectors, Pariahs. We'll find out, but I think that's going to be cost effective against the Hydralisk. Bly is just rearranging the furniture while he waits for his next round of roaches to arrive. He's getting really big. There's that roach supply tax, but he looks like he's almost double on supply. Now Alex is researching, or should I say, developing. That's the proper Keiron lingo. He's developing latent charge and exalted shields. He's also pushing out, and so is Bly. Is this a ships passing the night scenario, or are we gonna have a clash in the center of the map? No, they can't miss each other, can they? Bly grabs the high ground. He's gonna be glad he did. Who's got this? I can't even begin to tell. The Auroras are adding so much DPS, but so are the Hydras. The Keiron ground forces are almost gone, but there's a timely reinforcement of pulsars. Both armies have been devastated. Bly's roaches have run out of targets they can hit. They're pushing on to the Keiron base rather than die at the hands of the Aurora. Alex has a huge shape-in happening at his natural. It's all Pariahs. Bly sees it and redirects to the 3rd, hoping to at least get some workers, because it's death from above for the roaches. If the Pariahs don't kill them with their axes first. When the dust clears, it's Alex who still has the army. But his invasion force was completely turned back, and Bly's had a chance to make another one. Oh, he's trying to run his roaches inside. I think this sacrificial play buys him the time he needs to get his hydras up. It's not efficient, but he needs that extra time and space if he's gonna face off against the Keiron. I was so wrong. Alex went back to building Auroras, and he has a lot of them. He has weathered the Zerg attacks, and may now be looking to take it to the Zerg base. You can see the players' mining rates are very similar, but the resources lost tab shows that it's Alex who has the greater efficiency. Right now he's destroying the Zerg creep highway. I'm not too sure Bly cares that much. He's busy getting ready to defend. Neither player has any numeric upgrades right now. Bly's just getting his first Evo down now. In fairness, they've been kind of busy. It's been a high-octane game. Oh, Alex just projected his pariahs right into the center of the Hydras. That's gonna so mess with the targeting AI. The Hydras are hitting the cheap pariahs who have their shield upgrade, while the Auroras are getting work done from above. Bly was savvy enough to pull back and regroup. It looks like he's got the upper hand, but the Auroras are still out there. The pariah projection shade thing is so useful. I thought it was for getting up ramps, but I think we're going to see so many uses for it. What's going to be super cool is when the Keiron matches up against the Zyad. The pariahs will project, the Zydlings will dash, and they'll probably wind up trading places on the battlefield. It'll just be delightful chaos. Anywho, Alex has replenished his pariahs. They are really acting like zealots for him. A cheap way to soak up those hits. Bly seems to be implementing a similar strategy using roaches. If the roaches can keep the pariahs busy, just maybe the Hydras can get a shot at those Auroras. Emanator balls are everywhere. This map is like a Christmas tree. Bly's using a changeling to get his vision. We'll have to see what he turns into. Oh, but we may not get to find out just yet because Alex is on the attack again. He splits into 2 squads. Not sure Bly saw that. He might be leaving the third unprotected. Oh, this is tense. This is almost like a vision siege. Ah, the changeling turns into a volt. Forget suspicious zealots. You gotta be on the lookout for suspicious volts. Here we go. Flash in the center. Who's got this? The pariah's projected to the back again, but Bly had enough to finish them off. He is gonna chew through those subjectors. And once again, neither player has much of an army. At this point, Alex is entirely Auroras. He did just finish building a foundry though. That means he's gonna be able to have Umbre. And he's about to finish his 4th base. That's going to put him ahead on bases over the Zerg. Bly's researching burrow and tunneling claws. Oh, and he is putting down a 4th. We've definitely seen Bly do some amazing turnarounds on games with tunneling claws before. The problem is that Alex has detection everywhere. Oh, here come the roaches already. He's sneaking them around the back left-hand side, a very uncommon pathing. He's going to try to sneak him into the 3rd. Alex is up a dozen workers, so some worker kills could go a long way here. Pariah's getting shaped in at the 3rd. Does Alex see it? He does. He's got vision of it. He's getting 3 hits. There's a Stratus on top of the Citadel. English translation. There's an air turret floating on top of his Nexus. And the Natural's even worse. There's 2 Oculus right there. Bly tries to reroute for the main, but he dies before he gets there. That was rock solid D. Bly puts down an infestation pit. He knows he has to transition. Bly's roaches try the 4th, but the emanators are there. This is my fault. I made a video suggesting that Keiron's early game detection wasn't that great. Here's Alex proving me wrong. In my defense, I did say early game, and I did say the issue wasn't with the Keiron itself, but with the way it was currently being played. In this game, Alex is definitely invested in detection. And now he is looking terrifying with 20 Auroras. I love how there's 1 Umbre mixed in there. It must be bring your kid to work day. I guess the Umbre is the little kid in my weird analogy. Yep, it kind of fits, because there he is running off on his own. Meanwhile, Alex's main force is going to hit the wrong expansion site. They're going to find it empty. And you'll have to go up a ramp if he wants to fight Bly. I don't think he cares. The pariahs skip the roaches and project onto the Hydras once again. Bly does have a spore to help him out, but it just gets cut down by the subjectors. Bly has the army lead, but it looks like he's getting decimated. That's the roach supply effect. Alex has reached Bly's overlord stash. The only reason Bly's not getting badly supply blocked is his army's been decimated. I think this is it. I think Alex has defeated a top 50 player. He has. It's GG. Alex takes game 1. And that is how you start a best of 3. Okay. So in game 1, Alex really shines when he manages to survive Bly's Roach Ravager rush while he's caught teching to Auroras. Once Alex survives that, he's in a great position. Remember though, this isn't just any Roach Ravager rush. This is one being executed by Bly. He's done this before once or twice. One thing I failed to point out during the cast was that when Bly cracked into Alex's base, Alex used the Energize ability from his Citadel to buff the shields of all his units and all his nearby buildings. What we don't always get to talk about is that this is not just shield regeneration. Energize provides an armor increase as well. Anyways, when that rush is over, Alex has 4 Auroras ready to go, and Bly only has 4 Queens at that point. I actually thought Bly was going to straight up lose the game right there. But here's where his amazing instincts kicked in to save him. If he splits his Queens to cover his 3 bases, he loses. But he doesn't. He groups them together and positions them in the exact flight path that Alex takes. If Alex changes up his point of attack, a zillion unprotected drones die, and I don't think Zerg recovers. He doesn't have very many at this point. That's game. But props to Bly for divining exactly where the strike was coming and putting his defense there. From there, the game gets really interesting. As Bly tries to find the counter to the Auroras. Hydras are good, but Alex responds by mixing in a ground force, including one that short-range teleports behind his Hydras. I wanted to see mutas, but Alex was making subjectors with the range upgrade, which would have been muta killers. If you follow my report on my last Keiron cast, I suggested the weakness of the Aurora was that you could catch the Keiron player tech jumping by hitting him with Cloak. But I believe Alex has taken on the role of Yoda here and revealed that once again in the case of Zugzwang, much to learn has he. The Aurora's emanator is actually a detector, not just a vision source. It's basically creating stationary observers. So yeah, Cloak is not the answer. And roaches with tunneling claws was not the answer here either. Alex had detectors in every spot, including a stratus built over top of his Citadel. I'd never seen that done before. But since you can build air structures over top of ground buildings, why not? Well, maybe not if that means you can't then put in Aegis there later. But it certainly worked out for Alex here. So what is the answer to Auroras then? We have to expect there's a real chance Alex will go for Auroras again in Game 2. What adjustment can Bly make? I'll be keen to see what Bly thinks of all of this. Mutas, corruptors, spores, fungal growth? I'll keel over and die if he goes for Microbial Shroud. So let's get to Game 2 and find out. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
We are back, Keiron versus Zerg, Game 2 of a best of 3. Let's get right to introducing our players. In the top right is our Zerg in blue. I can assure you he will be grateful for a fire hose because he's Bly on fire! Seriously, why won't someone put him out already? Our Keiron player in the bottom left is the host of Jeopardy. He is Alex! R.I.P. Mr. Trebek, we miss you. Alright, so as our game begins, we have the opening edifice shaping in. Bly is going to concede the hatch block. It looks like he's going for the lateral third. You know, at least it took the Protoss 5 or 6 years before they started hatch blocking. The Keiron have been doing it since birth. Last game, Bly went pool first. This game, he's giving it a bit of a different look. Maybe that's just the way he likes to play on glittering ashes. It's another macro map. Alex is going to complete his scout and confirm there's no pool. He's actually queuing minerals himself. He might be going for an early expand. Yeah, I think so. We haven't seen the Keiron do this yet. So all early signs point to a macro game for both players. Alex gets the confirmation on the unnatural natural. Everybody's just cranking out those workers. Extractor pool for Bly. He goes for 1-2 drones on the extractor. He might have something more than just ling speed in mind. There's the Sanctum starting up for Alex. You need that for charges for pulsars and subjectors. One Sanctum can generate up to 2 charges, unlike the Edifice, which can create 3 charges. I think as the Keiron meta slowly develops, The number of charges available in each building will be a big factor in some of the strategic decision making. Alright, the hatch is about to pop. I think Bly's definitely going to want double queens. He's got to be concerned about the Auroras. That's what he does. 2 queens, 0 lings. I think we can officially start to suspect he's playing greedy. But he's being totally matched by Alex, who's yet to make any kind of military unit. I'll see your greed and raise you by gluttony. Just give me 1 sec, I gotta check the weather pattern on Channel 7 News. Doesn't it kind of look like the swirling clouds generated by a computer? Well, not anymore. Alex is not walling off tight this time, he's leaving a space for a door guard. Bly puts down his third before any zerglings. I think Alex's converter knows that, and that's gonna help him feel safe. Ling speed's underway. Bly's dropped the number of drones on his extractor to 1. He is keeping up his queen production. He felt the pain when he got caught short last game. Alex is pulling significantly more gas at this phase of the game. The Keiron are very gas intensive. There's probably like a beans and chili joke there somewhere, but I'm just not feeling it. Captain Kirk says, Scotty, energize! And the little mousies get their speed on. Okay, Bly's shifted gears a little bit. He's making lings, lots of them, 14. That feels like a potential door challenge. That or a heck of a lot of map control. Alex is shaping in a pulsar and a volt. Sounds like the start of a Keiron joke. So a volt and a pulsar shape into a bar. But was it a cylinder or a rectangular prism? Yes, I'm going for bar-shaped jokes. Those always bring the house down. Maybe not, but what might bring the house down are these lings. They are just streaming across the map. Bly's Overlord is not seeing a lot of units at that front gate. He's probably thinking, just how many hit points does a pulsar have? The answer is 260 shields, 140 health for a total of 200 hit points. Bly, tech jumping to lair. One of the things that's cool about that pulsar is, like the subjector, he's both mechanical and biological. Oh, but I don't think those lings particularly care. They're gonna attack. It's a hold position pulsar. Bly pulls back as his entire squad turns yellow. Oh, he types a comment. Splash! With a surprised emoticon. I think we're all learning stuff here, Bly. Pulsars make terrific door guards, and here comes the rest of the Keiron army just shaped in now. Bly's gotta get his lings out of there. You know, in game 1, Bly managed to do a door challenge without losing a single ling, and it looks like he's done it again. Alex is ignoring the lings, guessing that they're too fast to catch. He's going after the real target, looking to apply some pressure to the zerg. Bly responds by making a spine crawler at his unnatural natural, and he rallies his queens at his actual natural, where he has a roach warren underway. And I missed the first blood, darn it. Bly's been supply capped, Alex tagged an overlord, and now he's gonna try to focus down the spine. Bly counters with a ling backstab. He's trying to get the surround, but he is wary of all that pulsar splash. Notice that the pulsar is able to shoot and move at the same time. It seems like a small thing, but in the hands of a skilled player, it's a big advantage. Alex doesn't get the hatch or the spine, but he does get another overlord. He's got one subjector mixed into his army, and that is some significant anti-air. Oh, is he gonna catch a queen away from the pack? No, she's hustling out of there. She's gonna run back to the safety of that spine crawler. Oh, Alex just made an Echo, not an Aurora, but an Echo. I usually think of them as high-speed observers that can actually attack. It has a melee attack called the Reverberator Flare. Are there any other air units in the game that have an attack range of melee? That's kind of unique, I like it. Alex is bringing his beefy army home. He's got a lot more units than Bly right now. Bly is working on roach speed though, and with the mining advantage that he enjoys right now, he can probably catch up in a real hurry if he needs to. Yes, he's technically behind on workers, but it's the impact of that third base. Oh, Bly's actually gone and made an overlord with ventral sacks. He's got his lair, you can do that, you just don't see it that often these days. It costs 25 minerals, 25 gas, and ever since Legacy of the Void, you had to pay for each overlord individually. But won't that quickly pay for itself if Bly gets 8 zerglings into the main? Okay, here's what the Echo really does. It's my first time seeing this in a game. It's called Discord mode. He can transform into an unmovable detector. Oh, Bly is gonna sneak those lings in. We have simultaneous attacks, people. I love it. There is no defense in the Keiron main, but defenders could be shaped in. Bly's got roach defenders to try to hold his third at the ramp. It's Robo-Roach versus actual Roach. Oh, and Bly sending more lanes to look for easy opportunities, like cutting down the Keiron third. Oh, and the Roaches have held the ramp. The Keiron is in flight. But with Roach speed, Bly can cut them off. Bly is so good at always focusing down the high-value units first. The Volts are like red Smarties. You save them for last. The Pariahs get to clean up in the main. Notice Alex fired off and energized to protect his workers. But that doesn't mean Bly didn't get kills. He got 11. And the Keiron front door is open. The Roaches are getting inside. Alex is in so much trouble. He fires off and energizes at his natural, this time to protect his army. But Bly has so much muscle. Alex has made double Atriums. He can get Inducers and Myriads if he wants to, but he needs charges for them. And gas. He's having troubles getting gas. But he has chased Bly out of his base. Or maybe I spoke too soon because Bly has reinforcing Roaches. He's actually making 17 more. Bly does not intend to take his foot off the gas here. He's not making drones. Alex makes a Myriad, but it needs time to manufacture the Elytra. The Subjector range upgrade is about to finish, but I don't think the Roaches care. Bly's actually going to get the +1 ranged attack upgrade at his Evo. He needs that to catch up because Alex has +1/+1. Oh, but the Roaches are starting to get a nice concave over that Keiron wall. He's gonna blow up the Sanctum. So much for Sanctity. The Umbrae are here, but Bly has detection with an Overseer. Oh, and he drives right at the Myriad. He gets it. Alex shapes another one into his mineral line. Can Alex pull off yet another sick hole? Roaches are screaming across the map. Bly smells blood in the water. If it bleeds, we can kill it. There's the Energize. Can it be the Tide Turner? No, Alex's army is gone. He throws in the towel. It's GG. Bly ties up the sneeze. Okay, so I was kind of wrong about the Auroras, but rather than dwell on that, how about we just get to game 3? We've got a tiebreaker. I should mention that my videos have a habit of vanishing within the Google algorithm, so if you're interested in this kind of content, I highly recommend that you subscribe, or alternatively keep an eye out for Starcrafty thumbnails that have that versus symbol in them. We hope to have more cool stuff coming, both Scion races and regular. So let's get to game 3. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
It's a rubber match. I don't trust Bly. We're doing intros. Yes, our Zerg player is a devious one. And let me tell you people, if you want to be that good at Starcraft, you're going to have to learn how to spread your wings and Bly. Now, when it comes to our Keiron player in the top right, all of the letters of his name appear in the word Xel'Naga, the great ancient gods of the Starcraft universe. Coincidence? Or is it just Alex? Okay, my guess might have been wrong. Bly's just making drones. Alex has sent out that scout, likely for that 3rd hatch block in a row. Bly's not going to contest it. He's going for the triangular 3rd this time. You will sometimes see that on the map 2000 Atmospheres. I guess we're gonna find out if the Keiron die upwards like the other units in the StarCraft universe on this map. I think it's because both armies are armed with extreme buoyancy bullets. And when you die, you just go shooting to the surface. Anyways, Alex is finishing up his edifice and it looks like he's gonna go for another quick citadel. Watching the Keiron always gives me a hankering for frozen yogurt. I think the Keiron might be bad for my caloric intake. Fortunately, at least my brain's getting a workout with these two players. Like, did Bly just go for a 3rd hatch already? I believe he did, and he did it before his extractor pool. Okay, so not only is Bly not rushing, he's taking his greed up to another level. Now, this is a build that Zerg will mix in. We saw Dark do this recently. One of the consequences is that it delays your queen production, which would not be ideal if Alex were to go back to Auroras, for example. Alex is making his first unit. It's going to be a Pariah. Bly has no units at all. Alex has a converter down on Bly's end of the map to tell him this. Yeah, he's going to send out his Pariah to see if he can get something done. At a minimum, he's gonna force Bly to stop cheating and make some units. So far, Bly's been nothing but drones and overlords. You gotta respect the workout that Pariah's getting. He's marching across an entire seabed while carrying an axe that's larger than himself. Bly's natural is done, his pool's still not complete. The Pariah's gonna show up and wonder if there's anybody home. Oh, he cut his workout short. He used his project to cut the distance. He's gonna be rewarded with a couple of undefended drones. Bly's gonna try to play round the mulberry bush to buy some time. But the Pariah projects, so Bly has to go for the extractor trick to save his drones. And look what Alex is up to. He's building a nullifier. That's static defense ground. He's looking to cut off the zerg from its natural. Or unnatural, I should say. The zerglings are here. Bly goes for the shaping converter. He gets it, but a ling died too. It's a photo finish for that first blood. I couldn't tell. I'll have to slow-mo it later for you guys. But Bly's lings are sending Alex packing. But even though he had to withdraw and he didn't kill any drones, it was still worthwhile for Alex. He put a stop or at least a pause to Bly's droning. Alex did cancel that nullifier. Little skirmishes are going on here with that Volt, but Alex needs to be careful because Ling speed is about to complete. Well, perhaps care in this case includes bringing a pulsar. That ramps things up, but I think it'll have to shoot that hatchery all day before it makes a dent in it. Bly actually let both of those extractors finish. Usually the Zerg will cancel the extractor and get their drones back, but I guess Bly decided he had plans to get some gas in the future anyway. Alright, 2 more queens arrive, and that's gonna be enough to convince Alex he wants to back off here. And if it isn't, Bly's making 20 more lings and ling speed is finishing. Alex is shaping in some volts for his door guard. Bly's been making a concerted effort to break into his base every game so far. There we go, Alex is shaping in an outlet. He's reverting to the Auroras that he had so much success with in game 1. Overlord's out of position so the volts attack it, but it's a fake. The lings slip inside. Oh, Bly's timing is amazing. He follows the military playbook and immediately murders the most high-valued converter around. And in doing so, he halts production on the outlet. More zerglings get inside to the natural. Alex is killing those zerglings off as fast as he can, but he is losing converters in exchange. These shenanigans have given Bly the worker lead, and he also has a base lead, so he's no doubt got that income lead. Oh, and he's gonna get out too. That is infuriating. Alex is so quick though, he immediately signs a new converter to finish that outlet. People, if we don't have an outlet mall, where are the Valley Girls gonna shop? Bly's getting a lair and he throws down a roach warren. It's early days, but Bly has to be happy with how the resources lost tab looks. Oh, his lings double back and try to get back in again. Alex has blocked that up with an unfinished reliquary. That's his cheapest building. Alex does not pull his invasion force back. He presses on, confident that shaping in a few volts behind the wall will be sufficient. That means it's Keiron who goes on the attack and it's the lings who have to pull back. Alex steps onto the creep. Lings hide behind the sight blockers waiting for their moment. Queens come out to defend. Bly is pouncing. Alex tries to retreat to the ramp. Bly goes for the surround. He's got the wraparound, but those pulsers just don't die. The queens are contributing from the low ground. Who's got this? It is a puddle of death and destruction. It looks like the queens are gonna win out, but not before a lot of lings give their lives in that endless pit. How many dead lings are we up to now? 44. 44, and he's still significantly ahead on resources lost. That tells you a little something about just how disposable zerglings really are. They are worse than plastic straws. They're probably clogging the ocean right now. Oh, there's an Aurora. I guess it was conceivable that Alex was gonna make an Aperture instead, but that was like 99-1. The Aperture or the Keiron dropship just isn't really getting used yet. We've seen it a couple times though. But part of the reason for that might be just because the Keiron players have a love fest going on for the Auroras right now. Bly's got his roaches out, his supply is jumped up, he's running them across the map. Bly's income is really chugging along well too. He saw the Aurora, he starts making triple spores. Oh! I almost missed that Bly had another Overlord with ventral sacs. That was an important plank in his victory in game 2, and he repeats it. Bly's also building triple queens to defend those Auroras. Oh, he's caught Alex not looking at his Auroras. Alex was no doubt defending, and the queens take advantage. That is the value of those distracting lings in the main. Or do we give the credit to the roaches at his doorstep? Either way, Alex has chaos in his base that he has to deal with before he can have an effective attack. And Bly has started a Spire this time. I think I said it in game 1, really good choice against Auroras. The Auroras can't run away from them. But the problem is you gotta worry about the Subjectors. The Keiron has a really good ground to anti-air unit. But right now, Alex is making a Foundry. Oh, and he's built an Echo to deal with that Sack Lord. The Echo is so fast, Bly needs to drop his contents. Oh, but he can't if he's not over ground. Alex has used his Echo to herd the Sack Lord away from the ground section. Bly's trying to get to the main so he can do a drop, but I don't think he's gonna make it. He doesn't. Oh, killing a loaded Drop Lord, that's gotta be so satisfying. I'm like feeling happy for him by proxy. Apparently I've got Starcraft emotional empathy. I wasn't born with this talent. It took years of demanding suffering as I watched Starcraft games. Bly's gotta be a lot happier with his Queen to Aurora ratio. It's kind of reversed from game 1. Alex grabs a third and he's also getting that Subjector range upgrade, which is perfect because we just witnessed the Spire pop up. Bly was banking money, he just ordered 10 mutas. Unless Alex gets a whole bunch of Subjectors underneath his Eroders, those Auroras are gonna be in trouble. But actually, it looks like these Auroras are breaking off and looking to deke over to the main. No Queens there, but there is a Spore. Maybe he can get something done before the mutas pop. But if he does, he's not gonna see the voyage home. No, mutas are already here. Alex has just got to grab every drone he can because he cannot outrun those mutas. And that was an expensive loss for the Keiron player. And just like that, Bly is in a pretty strong position. He's leading economically and he's got the bigger army. Alex looks to play catch up by saturating his third. A big Maynarding of converters. But here comes the flock of death. Alex needs Echoes, Volts, and Subjectors and he needs them right now. The Lings hit the third just to pull away the defenders, and then the mutas pounce on the main. The mutas are killing the Volts as they try to shape in. But Alex has prepared a flight of Echoes. They're like aerial piranhas, but they are kind of vulnerable to that bouncing glaze. Oh, the mutas shut down Alex's attempt to get another air turret up. Oh, the Aurora's looking on helplessly. They are no use here. But the Subjectors are. Look at the range on those shots. And the Stratus are pretty potent as well. Bly's gonna get out of there before his mutas are obliterated. Meanwhile, the Lings pick up 3 more worker kills on that third base. Bly continues to lose a ton of Zerglings, but he's still got his I don't care face on. The mutas try to break into the main again, but it's pretty locked down with turrets. But they might lure the Echoes out. Well, who's luring who here? Let's see who's got this. The carnage looks pretty evenly distributed. Well, that's cheating. The Subjectors get in on the game. Guys, we were trying to run an experiment here. Well, maybe we can have a little one-on-one here. Neither unit's really got any hit points left, though. But one thing that's for sure is the Muta cannot outrun an Echo. Oh, come on! The Muta wins that battle and then he just gets killed. What kind of victory prize is that? I bet Bly was totally unused to anything being able to catch his mutas. That just doesn't really happen. Well, I guess with Phoenix, right? But this is even faster. Okay, so Alex is behind here, but he's mounting some decent pressure on the Zerg now. Ideally, this will help him get Bly's foot off his throat and then he can rebuild his army. But Bly's got a Spine Crawler and a lot of Queens. Oh, and new mutas to go at those Auroras. And Bly is also working on a Hydra switch. He's got the Den and he's picking up Hydra speed. But he's also getting roach speed and 14 roaches to go with it. The Keep Bly busy plan has not been successful. Alex is trying to tech up, but now he's got to get ready for a huge wave of roaches. If he goes too heavy on the Subjectors to deal with the mutas, the roaches will wipe him out. He's got to get this just right. Alex is trying to get a Stratus up over his natural. But the mutas may not be the real threat anymore. 15 more roaches in production. Bly's got double the supply of his opponent and just went up to 1800 APM. I think he just touched every key possible on his keyboard. Bly is looking to take control of this series. There's just too many roaches for them to care about the Auroras. An Aurora is just a light display. It doesn't actually hurt you. Oh, the worker kills are adding up. It's a bit of a massacre. 35 dead converters. Oh, Bly's even making a macro hatch. Zerg is definitely looking to try to brute force this. The speed upgrade for the Bolts and the Prize is gonna finish, but Alex needs the immortality upgrade. Oh, he just lost his edifice. He does have one more at the back of his natural. Alex fires off an Energize, trying to keep the last of his workers alive. But the worker murder count is crossing the 50 mark. It is GG. Oh, and Bly goes for the jugular. He really goes for it. Congrats to Alex for making an impressive show of it, but victory goes to Bly. Okay, I gotta show you that crafty move that Bly opened up this game with. So Alex has his door guards in position. He's got a lot of them. Bly's hiding lings who want to break inside. They're just down below here. Not enough to do a door challenge, but enough to cause major problems if they get inside. So Bly's gonna pretend to be scouting with his overlord. Alex does not want that, so he's gonna pull his guards away to kill that overlord. Now, Alex is no dummy. He knows he can't leave his door unguarded, but he's bringing his attack forces home to cover. But what he doesn't know is that Bly's timing is just perfect. And in that tiny sliver where the door is uncovered, Bly slips in. Now that doesn't win him the game, but it was impactful. So welcome to another seminar in Bly's School of Trickery. I know the focus is supposed to be on the Keiron, this being the Keiron Cup and all, but Bly is just one of those players who always steals the spotlight. Anyways, do let me know if you'd like to see more games from the Keiron Cup. I've been told there's no English stream for it, so I'd be happy to try to fill that void. I don't have too much information, but I'm pretty sure that Alex is going to be the organizer behind the Keiron Cup. So props to him for making this happen and for sharing the replays. I know I've enjoyed it immensely. Oh, one last thing, we gotta settle that first blood. What would my life be like without the miracle of zoomed in slow-mo? So the Lings are gonna kill the converter that's building the nullifier. But there's a pariah and a vault who are attacking the Lings. And we'll have to see who gets it first. You can see a Ling is running out of health, and you can see that axe swinging, but you can also see the converter dying. That was incredibly simultaneous. It actually turns out that slow-mo isn't enough to reveal the answer. I had to do this frame by frame because obviously I have way too much time on my hands. And here's the verdict, guys. You can see in this screenshot here, both the Ling and the converter are about to die. But then if we go to the next instant and we blow it up, you'll see the health bar for the Zergling is missing. Which means even though the converter dies in the next frame, it's victory for the Keiron. Eventually we gotta get around to getting the Keiron their own graphic. Anywho, enough with the frivolity. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me just say, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out. Commander, you're about to be rushed. Do you launch an aggressive counter-assault? Select the box in the upper left. Or turtle up and defend with everything you've got. Pick the box in the upper right. Or you can have it all. Do both and expand with a subscription to Zugzwang Starcraft. Just click the VS circle. From my base to yours, Zugzwang out.